Well, Zara, I think, is the perfect role model for William's new regime, not alone Charles's regime, but also William in the future, because she's visible, she's relatable, she's a dependable ally of William's now. No drama. She has her own career. She's not only a successful equestrian.
There is a quiet move unfolding behind the scenes of the British monarchy that could reshape how the royal family looks in the next generation, and almost nobody outside the palace has truly understood its significance. It doesn't involve a dramatic abdication, a sudden scandal, or a surprise interview. Instead, it begins with one of the most trusted, least dramatic, and hardest-working royals slowly turning toward her daughter and, according to royal experts, beginning to train her to step into a role she has spent her entire life avoiding. Reports now suggest that Princess Anne, at 74 years old and widely regarded as the engine of the royal family's working machine, is quietly preparing her daughter, Zara Tindall, to take on crucial responsibilities in the era of King William. If that is true, it is not just a family decision. It is a calculated institutional move, a sign that the monarchy is already planning for a future beyond King Charles, beyond scandal, and beyond the small circle of working royals currently carrying the weight of the crown. Before we dive in, there's something I need to share with you. Over the past few days, thousands have watched these stories unfold, but most haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, I invite you now to join us. Subscribe to Crownverse so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding royal history. To understand why this matters so much, you have to start with who Zara Tindall is, and perhaps more importantly, who she is not. She is the daughter of Princess Anne and Captain Mark Phillips, the eldest granddaughter of Queen Elizabeth II, and a first cousin to Prince William and Prince Harry. She grew up in the heart of the royal family, appeared on Buckingham Palace balconies, attended family events, and knew from childhood that she belonged to a dynasty watched by millions around the world. But unlike William, unlike Harry, and unlike many royals before her, Zara was not given a title. That decision was made deliberately by her mother. Princess Anne declined the offer of royal styles for her children, wanting Zara and her brother Peter to have as normal a life as possible. That choice set Zara on a completely different trajectory from her cousins. While they were prepared for royal life, she was freed from it. What did she do with that freedom? Zara built a career and an identity entirely on her own merits. She became an accomplished equestrian, eventually reaching the highest levels of her sport. She won a silver medal as part of the British eventing team at the London 2012 Olympics, carried her country's hopes in international competitions, and carved out a reputation in sporting circles that had nothing to do with royal titles. She married former England rugby star Mike Tindall, a man known for his down-to-earth humor and straightforward honesty, and together they created a family life that, at least from the outside, looked more like that of a successful sporting couple than of traditional royals. They moved within the royal orbit, yes, but at a distance that allowed them privacy, flexibility, and control. And that distance has been a quiet asset to the monarchy. While other branches of the family contended with internal rifts and public scandals, Zara and Mike remained steady, uncontroversial figures. They turned up at family weddings, funerals, and jubilees, always supportive, always present, but never at the center of drama. They were relatable. The cousin who worked hard, the Olympic rider who fell off and got back up, the royal granddaughter who did school runs and shopping runs like anyone else. For years, the unspoken understanding seemed to be that Zara would remain exactly that, a private individual with royal roots, but not a working representative of the crown. That is why the recent reports are so striking. According to royal commentator Louise Roberts, speaking to Sky News, Princess Anne has now begun what is being described as training Zara to take on some of her duties in the future. This is not presented as casual advice or occasional help, but as a deliberate process. Roberts suggests that Anne is consciously preparing her daughter to step into more public responsibilities if and when the need arises. It is important to underline that these claims come from a royal expert and have not been officially confirmed by the palace. They must therefore be treated as informed commentary rather than established fact. But even as unconfirmed reports, they align with a growing sense that the monarchy is entering a period where it must plan carefully for succession, not only in terms of who wears the crown, but who carries the workload. Princess Anne is, by almost any measure, the most industrious member of the royal family. Year after year, she has carried out more engagements than almost anyone else, often appearing at multiple events in a single day, traveling across the country and beyond, and serving as patron or president of hundreds of organizations. She built a reputation for seriousness, preparation, and a no-nonsense commitment to duty. When Anne arrives at an engagement, people know she has read the brief, understands the issues, and will ask sharp questions. That kind of service is not easily replaced. Yet time is relentless. Anne is in her mid-70s. She is still active, still formidable, but the royal household knows that at some point she will need to slow down. The question is, who will step into the space she will inevitably leave? In the past, the answer would have been simple: other titled royals. But the British monarchy today is thinner, smaller, and more fragile than it once was. Prince Andrew has been removed from public duties and is not coming back. Prince Harry and Meghan have stepped away from royal life and built a separate existence in the United States. The Queen is gone. King Charles faces health questions and a heavy schedule. The Princess of Wales has had her own health challenges. The Wales children are still years away from adulthood. All of this leaves a finite group of working royals: Charles, Camilla, William, Catherine, Anne, Edward, and Sophie, trying to cover an enormous calendar of events and obligations. Under these circumstances, the idea of quietly preparing a trusted, relatively drama-free family member like Zara to help shoulder some of the burden begins to look less like a curiosity and more like a necessity. Louise Roberts describes Zara as kind of an ideal candidate for this future. In her view, Zara is visible. People recognize her face and know her story. She is relatable. She has worked, competed, faced injuries, juggled motherhood and career, and speaks in a way that ordinary people connect with. She is, in the experts' words, a dependable ally of Prince William, someone he can count on as he shapes what will eventually become his own reign. And crucially, she brings no drama. Those last two words are not incidental. They are a pointed contrast to recent history, a reminder that the monarchy has paid a high price for internal conflict spilling into the public arena. An uncontroversial, hard-working, low-key figure like Zara is exactly the kind of presence palace strategists might want in the new era. Again, it is important to emphasize that this description of Princess Anne training up Zara comes from an expert and has not been formally confirmed by the royal household. There has been no official announcement that Zara will become a working royal. There has been no proclamation from the king. At this stage, it remains an interpretation based on what observers believe is happening behind the scenes. But even as unconfirmed scenario, it fits neatly into a broader pattern. A monarchy quietly planning for transition, aware that the next reign will arrive sooner than many expect, and realizing that goodwill alone will not keep the institution functioning. It needs people, it needs faces, it needs reliable figures who will show up, listen, and represent the crown without turning every appearance into a controversy. To appreciate how unusual this potential shift is, you have to look back at the decision Anne made when Zara was born. At that time, it was highly unconventional for a monarch's daughter to decline titles for her children. Many in the establishment expected Zara and Peter to be princess and prince, woven formally into the royal order. By saying no, Anne protected her children from the most intense scrutiny, but she also moved them out of the line of duty. If Zara now edges closer to that duty, even in a limited capacity, it represents a subtle reversal of that decades-old choice. Not a complete undoing, but a recognition that her unique position, raised inside the family but never fully of it, now makes her an asset precisely because she understands both worlds.